Welcome everybody to another episode of the He's on Fire
He's on
podcast.
fire.
I am one of your hosts tonight, Jay Boldy or Jay Joyce. You can find me at either one of those handles. We're under the ASAP Sports Network. Shout out to the team and the program over there. But welcome to the He's on Fire podcast. I'm Jay Joyce, and let's just go ahead and bring in our other co-host, host, whatever, Amit. How are you doing, dude? You're muted.
I love it. I do this at work all the time. No, I was saying, it's been a that's how my week's gone, man. I've been muted the whole week, so it's time for me to talk a little bit, and let's get to the weekend. We're almost there.
I know, man. 3 day weekend for me. I give Veterans Day off tomorrow. Shout out to all the veterans that serve and all the other good shit for us. A shout out to them, and make it home safe. I'm glad we're not fighting a stupid war, uh,
Yeah.
overseas. So yeah, let's just get into everything that's happened in the last week or so. The last time we talked really was what that Nets whole situation. But before that, we beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, and from then to now, we lost against Philly. That was a very frustrating game for me because I feel like we could have handled that, but just about everybody kind of had a bad game. Then we come back yesterday night, and then we put a whipping on Minnesota again. So the Phoenix Suns are sitting at 83 right now. When it comes to standings upon the league right now, we're like fourth or fifth, if I remember correctly. I mean, the Bucks are rolling. Portland's at 9-3, and the Jazz are just winning games like very handily too. Very surprising. Danny Ainge is a madman,
Yeah.
and Laurie Markkinen, he's looking like an early MVP lock, like a dark horse pick. But this is a Phoenix Suns podcast. We're going to address the Phoenix Suns. We're playing really good ball right now, and no Chris Paul last night. Da is coming back. He still kind of looked a little hobbled from his little ankle injury, and Mikal Bridges just absolutely went off. What were your takes about the game yesterday?
I had some takes. I wrote them down just because I got a really nice pen at work, so I was like, I want to write these down rather than put them in a Word document. Um, there was a lineup with Book, Da, Mikal, Landry, and Torrey Craig.
Hmm.
They deployed it a couple times, and I thought that really showed us how good four of those guys could be, right? Except for Da. I think Da is hurt, and so
Yeah,
I don't.
I think he came back too soon.
Like people are piling on him, and I'm like, he's hurt. Like he's still hurt. And then what do you want him to do? Because he's anchoring the defense. He's blocking shots. He's creating a paint presence. But the rest of that lineup, we saw Landry. He was balling out. He looked the most comfortable he's looked, other than maybe the first maybe like 5 or 10 games last year with the team.
Hmm.
Or that was his first year. Yeah. No. Yeah. So either way, like Landry looks good, Mikhail looks aggressive, and he's doing all the things he can do. Book is just Book, right? Like I mean, he's just exploiting it. And then Torrey Craig, I was looking at it, and I think like if we were going into the playoffs tomorrow, the three guys I think that have guaranteed time in the playoffs are Landry, or sorry, not Landry. He's still working his way there. I think he's fringe. Um, Lee, Jock, and TC. I think Torrey Craig, those three guys are the
Yeah.
guys that are locks for playoff minutes. Because in a spot situation, let's say Cam Johnson's hurt or he has foul trouble, you can put TC in. Or if like there's like a big wing player, you can put him in. I feel like Jock can play with the starting lineup. He can play with the backup unit. He knows how to play, just his style. And Lee is he's just a gamer. Like the dude is just he makes shots. And it's crazy because he's shooting right now in the season like 44% from three, which is really early in the season. So it's going to drop. But his career numbers are 36%. He's a good free throw shooter. He's a big physical wing that's not afraid to take shots. So I like his game a lot. So I think those three guys, I think, in a playoff rotation are good. But what we're missing is a playmaker, right? I'm talking about like very specific positions, role positions they can fit. The fringe guys I'm looking at, Dario is starting to round out a little bit. He's starting to get his legs underneath him. He's playing stronger and more confident, taking chances. Landry is now playing a little bit more consistent. At least it's been like what 2 or 3 games, and then Campaign. Um, you know, we've seen Campaign in the bubble. We saw him, and was it the Western Conference Finals when Chris Paul was out, where he put up like 25 points.
Yeah.
If we that sort of contribution from him, he's a solid rotational player in the playoffs, but I still think we're missing something.
Yeah, we're definitely missing another shooting presence on this team. Um,
Would
like
you say
as
shooting
much as
presence or ball handling?
like a shooting presence. I want like a good 1-2 punch on this team, and Booker is obviously the haymaker. There just needs to be like a jab in here or something. That's
So
the big
okay, I'm just trying to clarify
yeah.
what you're saying. So because I'm saying ball handler, meaning like another guard, but I'm what I'm saying is like a ball handler that can take his own shot and create for other people.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
you're saying, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a guy that has like a bag like that, he can distribute
Yeah.
and not make bad decisions. The IQ's up there. He can create his own shot. He can get others involved. Yeah, I mean that's the perfect guy that we want for this team. So, I mean that's why we're pushing for the KD narrative. Jesus Christ, sorry, God, this like ESPN ads just blare in my ear. So yeah, I can't even pause it. But
So I
yeah,
guess maybe we're saying the same thing. I think we're saying we need a guy that is a consistent scorer. Like we're basically saying like Jordan Clarkson, Eric Gordon, Shea Gilders Alexander. Even though there's nowhere going to get him, but like something at that level. Like we need like a six man. Is that what we're
right.
saying?
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, campaign has actually been really good to start the season. I mean, this is a complete 180 from what we saw last year, what we were missing. So Payne's been good, but we definitely need some scoring off the bench. Well, Cam Johnson, he's going to be gone for a bit. We'll get into that a little later. So we're just missing scoring in general, and this is definitely going to be a problem uh, going into the playoffs if no changes are made. Let's say so. Our bench unit to start the season, we're really good, but now everybody's on the scouting report. And Okogie is finally seeing some minutes. He's been really good defensively, but I don't see him bringing a shooting presence like that, nor should we expect him to. Damian Lee, like he hits the big shots, right? But I wish there was just more consistency with his 3-point shooting, and maybe just overall, uh, like better looks for other players and stuff. The saving grace for this bench has been Landell and not Chris Paul, Campaign. But since Chris Paul's been out, Payne's been taking the starting role. Um, the Shema has been solid, to start the season too. I mean, you can go back to the previous games. The numbers aren't flashy, but you can see his point guard aesthetic coming out in him, finding the open looks for people and stuff. So I just wish Dwayne Washington would see some more minutes. I don't know why he's not playing like that, and it kind of sucks not seeing Ish right now. He's out for personal reasons. I don't know what's going on with him.
His dad died. His dad died.
Oh, his dad died. Oh, that's why. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, take your time then. I didn't know that. But yeah, sorry to hear that. But
Yeah.
the bench overall has actually been pretty surprisingly good. It's just going against a team like Minnesota that has like a team filled with like Mikal, like Bridges is like they're tall, they're lanky, and they can play big and stuff. Like can really exploit this bench. And there's a good amount of teams that can do that. And we just got to keep in mind, some of the deficiencies. I think our starting five is good. regardless of who's in it or not. Torrey Craig has actually been really good this season as well. But again, I just keep on going back to what we actually need, and it's shot creation. If the Twins don't show up, we got to have at least one guy to bring it. And we
Yeah.
know Da is going to put up the consistent. Well, he usually puts up like 15, but if he had a somewhat bad game, but he was plus 16. But we just need a shooting presence, really, and I think you hit the nail right on the head, man. That's what this team's missing. So, uh,
Yeah, I mean, we're getting it. So before that, let me just say condolences to Dwayne Washington Jr., his family, and all that stuff.
we'll get into this,
Um,
Westville.
we're gonna get there. I would say this, like, I think what we're seeing is like Voltron sort of forming, because Cam Johnson was bringing that gravity on the shooting where he was opening up lanes. Now we're seeing Mikel being more aggressive.
Mhm.
Um, I think though, and then what I still am just not trying to like. I really don't understand how DeAndre Ayton gets he flashes the hoop and Book sees I see him wanting to make the bounce pass, but he sees a defender on the backside. But I'm like, you know where to throw that pass where that guy can't catch it. And either way, he ends up throwing it to the corner to Torrey Craig to miss a three. And I'm like, sometimes you just got to keep forcing it inside. Just keep trying to make it work. And I think that's the one thing that, um, to his credit, Chris Paul can do for this team more
Mhm.
than anybody else. I think the other person that did that well was Jay Crowder, where he would just trying to feed Aiden, even if it didn't
Yeah.
work. But I think we all got to be on the same page. Is be like, dude, Aiden is like we can't use him as just a Rudy Gobert type of player. This guy
Mhm.
is a somewhere in between Joel Embiid and Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
that type of dude. Like we got to feed him the ball. It makes your team better. He knows how to pass to the corners. It it boggles my mind, and especially with Book, he's such a good passer that I'm like, I don't know why he doesn't trust Da, or maybe he doesn't trust himself, or it's something else. But I'm like, it's going on like the entire time Da has been with the Suns, where I've seen Booker reluctant to pass the ball to Da in the mid post.
Mhm. It seems like to start this season, a book was actually finding Da pretty often. But ever since he hurt his ankle, it's been sort of subpar, and I think that's for a reason. I mean, with Chris Paul out right now and Cam Johnson, I mean that kind of clogs things up a little bit. And there was some weird turnovers in the last couple of games that kind of came off of like Book trying to like feed Da and stuff.
Fair enough.
But I see what you're saying. I mean, it's been a consistent problem and it's driven us up a wall. Like Da needs the touches, and like we can't criticize a guy if he's not getting the touches. And you can say all you want, like he needs to demand the ball, but that still comes with like players finding you and like
Well,
you
there's
doing your
been at
part.
least two games this season where Jock Landale had more shot attempts than Da. And
Uh-huh.
I told my brother, I was like, dude, if Da got the ball, or if Da was like force fed the ball the way Jock Landale was forced the ball, this guy be Shaq. Like it's insane. Like
Right.
those two games were like Jock. I don't know what they thought he was gonna do, but they just kept feeding him and feeding him and feeding
Yeah.
him, and it was like brick three. Like he did okay. I'm not trying to shit on the dude because I'm saying he's like a lock for a playoff spot on this team, but at some points you got to realize like your role, like you're Chris. He was in a lineup where it was staggered and Chris Paul was there, and Chris Paul just kept trying to feed him. I'm like, CP, can you do that for your man? Can you do that for your man, dude? Like, come
All
on.
right, Mike. All right. So Mike said on the ASAP Network, what's going on, Mike? All right. Now hear me out. Patrick Williams, Lonzo Ball, Vooch, Kobe for CP3 and Aiden.
So this is a Okay, so he's talking about the Bulls, right? Because he
Yeah,
misspelled Kobe. Um, because I was trying to figure out who he's talking about. Okay, Vooch is Vucevic, that guy? No,
yeah.
no, no. So this will never ever happen. I don't think anybody. And sorry, Mike. I don't think anybody would propose this trade in the world. Um, because Lonzo's hurt. First of all, he's not even playing, so we wouldn't trade for a guy that's hurt already that has a history of that. Patrick Williams is showing flashes. Kobe, the guy that went all crazy when Cam Johnson got drafted, is now not going to make anywhere near the same amount of money that Cam is going to make. So
I like Kobe White.
I'm
He's had
good.
his
I'm
moments.
good.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Mike. I hope everything's going good on your end of things. We got to have you back on when we face the Bulls or some shit. Um,
That was a good one.
Cam,
That was a good one.
yeah, Cam Johnson is insane. Yeah, I mean we've been saying this since the beginning of last season for him to be implemented in the starting five. Just talks about his injury and shit. I mean, playing the four is tough, dude. Like in a starting five role and you playing the four, you got to have the arsenal of all five positions, and you got to do it pretty effectively. And you're put in some really shitty situations, and uh, yeah, it's like Cam Johnson just needs to beef up a bit and not uh, hurt himself the way that he did, But yeah, since we're talking about Cam Johnson, let's just get into what happened with him. A non-contact injury. You probably saw the video. He just like stepped wrong and he just threw his knee out. Uh, Ended up being a meniscus tear or whatever, and then he made the decision of just getting it cut out, and then he should be back within 2 months. The other alternative was between like 3 and 6 months if he got like surgery or whatever. So with me hearing that, I think the tear or was like minor, so he made the executive decision to go ahead and just do the easy route and be back in a timely fashion. Like with that being said, what were your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's always concerning with a knee injury when anybody gets
Especially,
anything a knee injury, and like I've had family members, and I've been there, like personally, like when they've played sports and torn ACLs and broke kneecaps, and I've had to watch. My cousin made me watch the video of him getting his ACL repaired. It was fucking disgusting.
mm,
Um, like there was an arthroscopic camera that went in with the. It was so he made me
uh,
watch it. He's
keep
up there
going.
with with his knee up. He's on his bed with his knee up in his bed, and he's like, put the VHS tab. This way back in the day, VHS tapes. I had to watch this motherfucker get his ACL repair. It was so bad. Um, so the science has gone so much past. That was like 25 years ago now. I, I would think that Cam made the right decision
Mm,
to repair a small tear or a snip of a small tear and let it repair on its own, which I think is doing coming back short term. I'm concerned for him as just a human being, like long term, like maybe
right.
he didn't make the right decision. Um, but like Eric Bledsoe had his he had his meniscus removed, I think in
Hmm.
both knees, if I remember correctly, and
Hmm.
he's still playing in China, but he's not. I mean, he's still playing, right? So
I think he just got arrested. Like,
Bledsoe got
uh,
arrested.
yeah, like 24 hours after he signed with the Sharks. Hang on, keep talking. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I mean, so either way, I mean, there's a way that you can. I don't even know how that's even possible, where you can play without a meniscus in your knee. So the fact that you can make a slight tear, snip it, let it heal, and come back in a month makes sense. I mean, we need him for the long stretch. So the fact that he's not going to miss a long period of time and he's going to be ready for the playoffs is great because he is absolutely going to be one of the top factors for this team going deep in the playoffs. But beyond that, for his own health and his own success. This is for his career. He's in a career year, so he has to play for his contract. So maybe that was, maybe that's why he made that decision.
I think that had a lot to do with the decision and stuff. And Cam Johnson seems like a very intellectual guy, and it seems
Yeah,
like a guy that thinks this through. So I
he's
I
down to
think
earth. Like he's really down to
yeah, he's
earth.
down to earth. Yeah, so I don't think he would have taken the route that he did if he didn't see the whole the whole picture. So I totally support his decision, along with JJ Watt with his whole heart condition right now. Like they know their body more than anybody else, so I'm not gonna critique the decision that they make. But yeah, so NBA Eric Bledsoe arrested for domestic violence, allegedly shot girlfriend. I just read the headline when it came out. I really didn't like look into it. But yeah, this is what I was referring to. Man, the days, man. And dude, man,
I
I
don't want
totally
to be
forgot
here,
he was.
man. I don't want to be
Yeah,
here.
I don't want to be here. I totally forgot he was on the Blazers too. God, he
He
ended
was
up
on the
cooking us
Blazers.
in the
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. But
Can we
yeah,
talk about real quick?
crazy.
I just want to get this topic in because this is what, like, the second time we saw the Timberwolves. That team. Okay, so I'm watching that game, and then I'm so the broadcast that I'm listening to is the Suns broadcast, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, okay, that's a third foul on um you know Gobert. This is a third foul on Cat. It's the first quarter, under
Yeah.
2 minutes. What are you doing, bro? And then Anthony Edwards gets fouls in the second quarter,
Hmm.
early in the second quarter. The coach does not know. The inmates are running that asylum, but I don't even know if the inmates know what they're doing. They have no idea like. There's no sense of what's happening. I don't know if you know this, but their offense is rated the dead last with
Hmm.
Gobert and Cat
Yeah.
in the lineup. They're at net rating 95, right? Which I think the average net rating in the NBA is like 103. So
Yeah.
they're fucking terrible. They're good defensively, but then they don't know how to stop fouling. They
Uh-huh.
keep fouling. Um, that's everything I had to say about the Wolves. They made this big move, and for Gobert, they gave up so much to get Gobert, and this is. I feel like they're gonna have to like. Do you think they're a playing team?
It fucking sucks to say that because they were so exciting to watch last year because it seemed like Ant was finally coming into his own.
Yeah,
Like Cat was decent enough to keep up with Ant, and then D'Angelo was actually having a pretty solid season as kind of like the third scorer. And then with all the other pieces around him, with Vanderbilt and McDaniels and all these other guys, Nas Reed, like they were just really exciting to watch. And they almost beat Memphis, but they just blew game after game in the playoffs. And as a Minnesota fan, I would have left that playoff run so happy, even though the way
yeah,
that they went out. But to go into this season, well, even in the offseason when you heard he got Rudy Gobert, I know there was two thoughts. Like there's either one, this can be a genius move if it works out correctly and Cat develops a perimeter defense game, or two, it's going to be one of the biggest disasters. And it's trending towards that second.
yeah,
That second, just Cat can't play defense along the perimeter, and he's barely good in like in the box and stuff, like in
yeah.
the paint and all. It's awful, and to have these like there's no lineups that work with this team, and then Ant looks terrible because nobody's getting open, so he has to kind of ISO like all this shit, and yeah,
I mean, you
it,
you
all
you kind
it
of have to
is.
go like you have to go galaxy brain and be like, okay, is there a way that like the way the Lakers are trying to do with Westbrook? Be like, is there a way that Gobert can play like this with the second unit and they have a completely different offense, and then Cat's playing at the five position and it's like the normal offense, but
Mm,
I mean, at that point, if you're trying to like do the math on that sort of shit, it's not going to work out. It's not working out.
Yeah. Westville asks right here, are the T Wolves more talented than us? No, I don't think so. I think last year their team was really appealing on paper, and I mean there was definitely a like an atmosphere and a gravitational pull with the team last year. And going into this season, I thought if they were able to carry that energy and perform the way that they did last, because they were tough last year. Like we had a good amount of games against the Wolves that kind of came close until like the end of the season. But I think on paper, the names pop out a little bit more. Like we know who Ann is. We've seen probably the best of Cat, and then we know the good version of D'Lo from Brooklyn. But none of that is going on right now. And we're not seeing the Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, and it just seems like I've seen the same.
Jay is being really nice right now. Westville, because I know you, and my cues played me before. So I'm gonna assume that this is a trick question. I'm assuming you're trying to troll us right now because I don't really think that could ever be a question. That if who has more talent,
Gobert's really a goober.
he is.
Oh
He is,
man.
man.
Yeah, like it's weird, like that team has so many people, and Prince. I'm a big fan of Prince. Like if we picked up Prince and put him like in the Jay Crowder four position, he would be so goddamn good. He'll drop at least four threes a night, honestly, in our system. Sonia. So Coach, he's just traveling right now. He's working. He's doing his thing right now. He told us that to carry the torch right now until he comes back. So we're just gonna keep out pumping content out for you guys. So that's what's going on. And thank you for agreeing with me, Sonia, as well. But to send Minnesota off, I think we see him one more time this year. Um,
Terrible. Take a lap.
So that's for Minnesota. Take a lap, figure some things out. Oh God, dude, they gave up what like 7 picks for Rudy Gobert. Some shit.
They give a lot. But you know what though? I really think that they could figure this out if they had the right coach. Because how does a coach leave your two big men? You leave them in the game, they end up with 3 fouls before the end of the first quarter. Can you ever imagine a situation where any other coach will let that happen? Like that is
No,
insane.
to get
Like
both
I
of
don't
your
understand. And
centers
then
out
Ant gets
trouble in the
three, and
first
you let him.
quarter. Yeah.
Ant gets three, you let him play. Like
Hmm.
what are you doing? And so I think if I remember correctly, Cat missed like probably I don't think he played till the third quarter. He missed from like the
Yeah.
7 minute period in the first, and then he sat all the way to the third quarter. And then he put
Yeah.
Gobert in, and this guy was about to get fouled again. They're like, okay, we got to pull this guy out, and then Ant gets 3 fouls. Like their whole what is the coach doing? And he said in the press conference afterwards, he was like, yeah, we don't have any confidence and we don't have any direction. And I'm like, well, the direction part is you. So you're saying indicting yourself shots at Cliff Kingsbury, and then at the same time you're saying this team's not confident, and they can't be confident if they don't have a good game plan.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I hate to shit on the Timberwolves because the two teams that I always want to see do good if the Suns don't do good are the
Uh,
Timberwolves and the Kings. I just
yeah.
want to see them just flourish if we're not doing
I
good,
want them to have good
especially between
seasons,
the
man.
Lakers.
Yeah.
What?
Like franchises that are down below, I want to see thrive to the highest degree. I think it's so good for sports in general. Like for Cleveland to be where they are right now with without LeBron
Yeah.
is amazing to me. Like I love where Cleveland's at right now. And even if they don't win anything, they're definitely going to go on a nice playoff run. Like Darius and Donovan together, they've been phenomenal. And to not have LeBron as the face of the team is great. And I love LeBron, but for Cleveland has been through a lot in sports. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
just an
I don't
example.
mind like Cavaliers is another one. The Browns is one where I'm like, fuck those guys forever because
You
you never made a logo. You're basically you're
know. You start with the logo.
We've talked about this so many times already. So, like, I just want the Browns to suck forever because it's just like watching a train. Oh, I crashed into a dumpster fire. Now I'm jumping off a cliff. Now I'm going off a roller coaster, shooting off in the moon, and then I get hit by a rocket. Like, I just love seeing the Browns just completely shit the bed consistently. But yeah, there's franchises that you root for because you just want to see. Like, I like the Bills, man. I've always loved the Bills.
Yeah.
My like
Bill.
before I was a
They
Cardinals
lost
fan.
what, like 3 Super Bowls in a row? Some shit like
Four.
that? 4.
Four.
Oh my god, 4.
They lost them
Yeah,
all.
they need
So
one.
that's when
They
I
need
started
one.
watching football. So I started watching football. I was a Cardinals fan. And I'm like, oh, Super Bowl. Obviously, the Cardinals are going to play in it. So who am I supposed to root for? Giants, Bills. I think it was 91. And I watched the pregame. Like, I watched like 4 hours of pregame. I don't know what my parents were doing. They let me watch like the whole fucking day. I was watching pregame of a Super Bowl game. And I became a Bills fan. And I rooted for um, Thurman Thomas and that whole team, all those players on the team. And I watched them for 4 years, keep lose to the Cowboys. The Cowboys, of course, Cardinals nemesis, back when the Cardinals played in the Sun Devil Stadium. This is a long time ago. So I have beef with the Cowboys fans and Raiders fans from like way back. But and I know Sonia's on here. She's going to say something. But it was just I became I'm always like a Bills fan because they're out of the our conference. But like it'd be cool to see them beat the Chiefs, right? Like that'd be cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I'm okay. I want to talk about this real quick. So before we get back into Suns basketball, okay. So I think the Bills and the Chiefs have the best jerseys, or just like color palette, like in the league. Um, like the red and yellow with the white trim, like for the Chiefs. Like it just like I I love it. And
It's
then
just so
what?
random, dude. What do you?
Yeah,
You think the Chiefs are the best?
I like the Chiefs a lot. I really like how their jerseys are laid out. They're just really clean to me. I don't know what it is. And with like the star patch that they have too, like whatever that fucking thing is. And then with the Bills, I mean, it's just a nice clean palette, and their logo's badass too. So I don't know. I know it's
I
random. But,
It's random. I like the old Bills. I don't like the current Bills stuff. I like the old Bills where they had the
oh
blue
yeah,
helmet.
yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But I would say this, dude. You and shouts to Sonia. The teams that have the most fire jerseys are the Raiders and the Cowboys.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that silver and black, the way they've like made it real clean now, where it's just like black and silver, and that's all you'll
You
see.
can't
And the
you can't beat it.
Cowboys, I mean, that shit's fire. Like it's
You
the
can't
Cardinals.
beat that. Yeah.
The Cardinals lose to everybody almost. Um, and
Oh
honestly,
god.
like the old Washington football team jerseys,
Oh
like that
yeah.
logo was the logo was sick on the helmet.
Yeah, yeah, the Redskin one.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
the
like
logo.
Schneider's in some shit right now with Goodell. He's getting like sued or whatever.
Yeah,
That's fun.
yeah.
But
And and here's a hot take.
uh,
49ers have some fire jerseys as well.
oh, they do. Yeah, they always have. I've never wanted to admit it like that because I don't like the Niners, but yeah,
Yeah,
dude, it's like the right amount of gold. It's just
yeah,
it's just a hint.
yeah.
Yeah, let's just dive back into this Phoenix Suns conversation. So Evan posted this after the Philly game. He said, "When can we talk about this?" And it's his averages this year so far: the 15-4, 7 rebound, 1 assist, or whatever. Uh, got a good amount of traction on here. A lot of controversial sort of takes and stuff like that. I just want to address my thoughts about Da right now. To start the season, it was kind of a gauntlet of centers. You had to go against Jonas. He went against Nurkic 3 times. Uh, he rolled his ankle, and then he comes back, faces Embiid, and uh, and then it's back to Cat and Rudy Gobert. I mean that's a pretty stacked start of the season when it comes to dealing with big guys, especially when you're injured. Um, it's just hard to bounce back in that sense. I think DA came back a lot quicker considering the schedule and stuff. With that being said, I don't disagree with what Evan put out. I'm not necessarily on board with his thing either. I always say give players and teams 20 games to kind of figure things out in the season. It's a long season. Christmas is around the corner, and that's really when the season starts. And like, I think just about everybody can agree with that. But when it comes to Da, like our arms were kind of twisted to pay this guy. We couldn't let him walk for nothing. But at the same time, I think he is worth that money as well. We just got to give this dude time to kind of just get back into the rhythm of things, and the Suns got to do their part with giving these guys the looks, giving this guy the looks and the opportunities to flourish. And Da has to do his job as well. But we're only you know like 10 games, 11 games in right now. I'm gonna give this whole Da thing about 20 games, and we'll see where we're at. What are your thoughts about Da so far this season? I think he's been pretty decent. He's looked engaged. He's looked like he wants to be there. He's been playing really good defense for the most part, even though like some of the shots haven't been falling. I just think he's been above average so far, and a better start to previous seasons.
I think there's two camps, right? So there's a camp that is like, for whatever reason, they don't like Da. Whether it's like we should have drafted Luca, or he's the number one pick, he should be somebody like a Luca, or you know, any type of first round pick, right? Like number one pick. So there's those people that are always gonna shit on him. And then there's the people that are like, well, his ankle hurt, he doesn't get the ball, and which I consider both sides when I talk about this. I think there's sometimes you overpay for a guy to win a championship or to get close. And like a good example is somebody like a Draymond Green, right? Like you overpay for Draymond because he does so much for Steph and Clay for them to make shots and do all the intangible stuff. And we forget what Da did in the playoffs to make this team get to the finals in 2021.
Yeah,
So like as long as that guy shows up, who I would love to see. The whole point I've been trying to say, we need to get him the ball more. He needs more touches. He needs to figure out how to work out of double teams, not just always pass out of it. And I've been saying that we've not been feeding him the ball. Chris Paul, Devin Booker campaign, like they're just not feeding him from a ball handler's perspective. But
the foul trouble has been a thing too. Yeah, forgot to say that. Thank you, Sonia.
foul trouble's been, and that's on him. That's 100%
Ye-
on him. Like
Yeah,
he is in his highest. I think it's his highest foul percentage of the season. So yes, that's 100% true. But if we overpay for a guy that's like our fourth best player, I'm okay with that.
mhm.
As long as that's bringing championships.
And plus, I'm not too into the whole contract world and stuff. I can give a fuck. It's not like my money and stuff. But like Devin Booker, he's our super max guy. Completely understand. Uh, Mikhail's contract kind of looks like a steal in hindsight. Like it was like the 3 year, 90 million. I mean, he plays above that, so I mean, it was a good contract to begin with. Shamitz is very team friendly. A little more than half of that is not guaranteed. Then just you go down the list. I mean, we have expirings and we have all this other stuff. If if you're gonna overpay a guy, might as well be a top five center in the league.
Yeah.
Like yeah. So I'm not gonna dig my head more in the weeds, like past that. So Da's doing his thing. He fucked up his ankle. He's been in foul trouble. He's been playing aggressive, which I like, but he needs to calm it down a little bit so he can be on the floor a little bit longer. Again, I'm gonna give this DA thing 20 games and stuff, and he's looked involved, he's looked engaged, and I just hope that we implement him more because I feel like he wants to be one of the focal points of the offense, and I want to get this guy going again. And with Book coming back, Book being the sort of the point guard in this last game and stuff. I mean, I wasn't expecting DA to have the best game anyway, because like we talked about, just a distribution from Book to DA and how challenging it could be. It seems like so.
And here's another thing.
Yeah,
Like, if you're going to trade for like a 6-man player, like DA is a guy that's going to lose opportunities. Like, you know what I
right.
mean? Because it's going
Yeah.
to be all perimeter play at that point. So,
Mm.
but if you can put a guy like DA there that has been willing to sacrifice for a team to get to the finals, to play out of his mind, to do the things, and he was clutch. He hit, the game-winning shot in the Clipper series. He made a bunch of other plays against in the Bucks in the last 2 minutes of the game. So I trust him. I trust him as a player,
I do too.
but I don't trust him as like. So if we just said like at this point we're like, okay, Monty's like, all right, like Chris Paul's out, Jay Crowder's out, Cam Johnson's out. We're gonna give you the ball, like you're gonna get like 30 shots a game. That's gonna end disastrously for this team
Hmm.
because first of all, I don't think Da could, in his own mindset, take 30 attempts in a game.
Yeah.
But if he was like Amari Stoudemire, I could see Amari taking 30 attempts. It'd be like, bro, we're gonna give you the ball every time. You just do whatever you do, right? He
Hmm.
would find a way to get 30 attempts. It's gonna look ugly. It's not gonna look great, but he will do that task for you. Da is not that guy, and um, you know, we're at like his 5th year in the season where we have to realize he's not that guy. He's probably always going to be your at the best 3, but most likely your 4th best guy in terms of offensive efficiency.
No, I agree, and to add to that, I wouldn't even want Jokic and a B to take 30 shots unless the ball was falling. So
Yeah,
it's yeah, it's like like ACA absolutely fucking feed him, dude. And most nights it is. He has that nice little shimmy turnaround floater or that fader that is just money
yeah.
a lot of the time. Uh, like if the shot's falling, absolutely feed him, and I think that's what the Suns are kind of giving into a little bit. And hopefully Chris is back sooner than later, so we can get him more involved and stuff because I feel like we haven't had the opportunity to do so. So we play the Orlando Magic tomorrow. I don't know if Pancho's playing, but he's I think he's in concussion protocol or something like that. Um, he might be out. But he's a early rookie of the year uh, lock right now. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to be like as good as he was because considering like his whole sweat thing, like I thought he would just be gassed in the NBA like that. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I remember. Do you remember
So he'll
Patrick
lose
Ewing?
like 7 pounds a game because of the amount of sweat he would lose. Yeah, he has like this gland deficiency or whatever. So
Oh,
he just
interesting. Okay.
exerts
I thought it
all
was a
of this
pa
energy.
I thought it was literally like, so it's funny because like I tell my wife like she goes to sleep before me, and when I go in the room, like I'm like, "Yeah, man, you sweating like Patrick Ewing." Like she's just fucking, how can you sleep? How can a human being sleep with the blanket over their head and just be sweating everywhere and not
Yeah.
feel it? And pretty much Patrick Ewing used to do that. My wife does it currently. I guess Paulo does it, but it's not. It's part of his like genetic whatever, right? So that's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be playing. But I mean, the team has some pieces. I mean, Bobo and some other guys on that team too. They're not coming to mind. I was just thinking of them. But I think it's a dub. I think we go 9-3, and hopefully we catch up to the Jazz because for whatever reason they just don't lose. Today the Suns revealed our city
Yeah.
edition for this year, and it's the 22 tribe city edition jerseys. Um, I saw the mock-ups leading up to this. I wasn't too crazy about them. I thought they were decent. I didn't think they were bad. But seeing them on the players, I think this is a sort of a top tier jersey. What are your opinions about these turquoise jerseys, man?
So when like all the rumors were coming out, like I thought like there's no way they're gonna do this. I didn't think it was real. When they did it, and the detail that they put into the court, the
I love the
jersey,
detail.
um, into the fan base where they reached out, fucking fire. I bought the long sleeve shirt. I was really pissed that they didn't have the shorts available because I want to get
Right?
the
The
short.
shorts are fire, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at
So
this.
those are not
This is
available. You can
badass.
only get jersey, shirts, and other apparel. So that hopefully the shorts are available later because I really missed out on those low suns. You remember the low suns? It was
All the
like
low suns
the
were, yeah.
the purple. It had like this those sort of like throwback sunburst. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I really wanted those shorts, and they sold out. I never got those. So I was like, let me at least get the shirt, the long sleeve shirt. It's cool. It's a turquoise, with the sun with the dream catcher around it.
Uh,
Um, Dude, I think it's cool. I'm like I'm torn between like are they like because they I don't know if I missed this. I probably missed it. Are they like really giving back to the community or is it just a way to sell more jerseys? Like that's the part that I'm not 100% on. Otherwise, the way that they dropped it, everything else is fire unless the back end they follow through to help the community.
I would think that they would give back to the community a bit. There was nothing said about it that I saw.
That's what
Probably.
I'm saying. Like
Uh,
they didn't say
yeah,
anything specific. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They didn't say
I,
like a percentage of the jerseys because they brought out these kids, they brought out the folks, they put them to the court. They did the whole like ceremonial thing, which if you're from Arizona, you've seen this before, and
yeah.
hopefully you appreciate it every time you see it. But which I love, and I love it every time I see it. Every time I see any of these cultures present like that, but like I just felt like something was missing. Like I'm like, is this really like a follow through? Like, is this just a like, are we doing this thing and we're talking about the communities? Because even when they do these stuff, like there's like 22 nations that lived in Arizona in the territory, and the ones that I know about, Apache, we all know about Apache. We know about so I don't want to mess it up, but there's like the ones that we know about where you live, like the Mesa area, Scottsdale area, those
Uh,
reservations that are like right in the city. And like there's all those other ones that are like outside the city, close to Grand Canyon, close to Mexico. And like I don't know the names of those tribes. And so I'm like, is this helping or is this just like selling merch?
yeah. I really hope the Phoenix Suns do give a portion of the profits to those tribes and reservations and stuff because they need them. Like for the public education system in those reses and stuff. But yeah, I really hope they do that. But I kind of wish they used this logo for the center jersey. But I digress. But I
Which
think
one?
it's really
You didn't
cool.
share it.
Huh? What was that?
You didn't share it. We didn't see it.
Oh, you don't see it on my end. Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
That logo. Yeah.
So they used a version of that. So the shirt that I bought has that on the like in the middle of the shirt. They used a version of that at the half court logo, but it's a little bit more detailed in that version.
Uh huh.
Um, I don't
Oh,
understand.
okay.
I don't understand.
Good.
Every time they put fire shorts out, they don't sell them. They don't make them available to be sold.
I guess this is how they lay it out then. Yeah, the shorts are really nice. I saw them and I was just like, I usually don't buy the shorts, and like with these pair, with this pair, like I wanted to. I mean, just like the
Yeah,
detail,
yeah,
um, like the just the trimming and stuff. Like this shit is
yeah,
nice, man. And
yeah.
like a lot of these NBA teams that had indigenous people, from their state and stuff don't really rep like that, except for OKC. I mean, that's like their whole thing. But I mean, I think it's just really cool in general. And then the court, I mean, the court is beautiful. I mean, we got to have some of the best jersey lineups and court rotations too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're wearing these a good amount this year too. We're gonna be wearing them on the 16th against Golden State. That'll be a good game. Uh, but yeah, these are cool, dude. I
Yeah.
dig them.
All right,
I
Jay,
do
let's
like
let's
'em.
let's move the cards, man. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
Let's get to
let's
the worst
move
part
to
of the
the
day.
cards, man. Yeah. So the Arizona Cardinals, they dropped down to 3-6, losing in my opinion, a must-win against the Seattle Seahawks. The game was horrible, and I'm kind of just over with this team. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is suited enough to be a head coach in the NFL. I think he would make a pretty decent offensive coordinator anywhere else. Um, a lot of people are going after Steve Kime at this point, and I see why because of the lack of depth on this team. Billy Price, I mean, there's a reason why he's been a journeyman and stuff. I mean, those three over the head snaps were awful. The offensive line doesn't have any discipline since Justin Pugh got hurt and Roddy Hudson's not in there, and just everything's a mess. We have Barstool and the fucking guy from Last Chance U uh, criticizing Kyler looking disengaged and all this other shit, but the offensive line is collapsing. He doesn't have time to throw the ball, and like the play calling is very predictable, and we just can't get anything on offense. And our defense has outperformed every single game. And if we just match the energy, I mean, this we'll be talking about this team a lot differently. Um, what we haven't won the division game. We're 0-3 when it comes to division games right now.
Yeah.
So we play the Rams on Sunday. They've been pretty bad. We might squeeze one in, but I don't have faith. Then we have the Niners the next week, and then we have the Niners like 2 weeks after that, I believe. So these next two games are absolute must wins if we're going to keep the season alive, or at least keep our playoff chances afloat. We were told that with D Hop coming back, it was going to open up this offense. It did, but barely. And the offensive line is awful, and our defense is just outperforming. And you can see the frustration with the defense because they're kind of playing this really, really tight defense for kind of no reason, for no benefit out of it. I mean, now Buda's hurt; he's going to be out for a couple weeks. That's huge, considering he takes up most of the tackle count on defense anyway, and he's a safety. Like it's not treading towards the direction that we wanted to begin with. But I mean, there's just holes everywhere. Ahmed, what are your thoughts about it?
Um, so I'll start with this. Like, I have a text thread with a bunch of my like high school friends and family friends from like way back in the day, and we're Cardinals fans, Suns fans through and through. And I texted these guys, and I go, I don't know what's going to piss me off more, or what's going to be more infuriating: the FIFA documentary on Netflix about FIFA, or the Hard Knocks documentary about the Cardinals. And everyone's like, no, it's for sure going to be FIFA. And I watched 4 minutes in to the Hard Knocks documentary, and I hear, and get your drop ready, get your drop ready. This guy goes, hey, we don't have time to fuck around. There's no fuck around time. This was
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
and Kime and Kingsbury find that out after the Vikings game, and they continue to fuck around. Play it again because they did it one more time. One more game.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
Yeah, and they found out again against the Seahawks. So what are we doing? Like, I'm watching this thing and I see Buda Baker crying trying to get his team to rally around him. And I don't see the team like he's crying, he's emotional, and I don't see the team actually doing anything. There's actually a clip if you go back. There's I think it's Ed Reed when he played with the Dolphins. It was Ed Reed or Sean Taylor when he played with Hurricanes, and he did this. He
Mhm.
literally said the same exact words. I don't know if like Buddha like contrived this whole thing to say it, but it was literally if you go and Google Ed Reed Hurricanes halftime speech, it's literally the same speech. He's like, I can't lose at home, dog. I put my heart in this shit, dog. He's literally saying the same thing. So
Mhm.
look, man, um, this team, we know all the problems. We don't have to talk about. We don't have to go into detail. We know it's coaching. We know it's leadership at the top. The offensive line is shit, but and that's sort of an excuse because there's been teams where like we've seen the Cowboys when they had like a really good offensive line and then everybody gets hurt and then Dak Prescott like rips his ankle apart and then their season's lost. Luckily, we haven't seen that with our quarterback.
Mhm.
I know I got into a little Twitter thread with like Joe Como where I said that Kyler's holding the ball way too long. Somebody made a point to say he's like holding it the fifth shortest of all quarterbacks. But my other point in that same point was that Kyler has no pocket presence or awareness to be like, oh, there's two guys closing this way. Maybe I should step up. Maybe not step back. Maybe I need to roll to the right. Maybe I need to roll left. We see these like phenomenal plays where he like, you know, gets out of a sack, runs 20 yards, and then he fumbles the ball. Right? We
Mhm.
saw that last week where he
Yeah,
made the most insane play, but then he didn't do the one thing that you're supposed to do, hold the ball
tuck it.
correctly. So,
Yeah.
I mean, with this team, it's hard to really. I think the defensive talent on this team is really good. I think the defensive line is letting down the secondary and the linebackers. I think
Mhm.
JJ Watt he makes a play for Instagram for us to be all like, oh, JJ Watt's here, he's doing shit, but without Chandler Jones or a really effective pass rusher on the other side, we suck. Um, I think the run defense is good because that whole secondary are ball hawks. They make plays. So the defense is, like you said, is outperforming the offense. The offensive talent on this team is is criminally misutilized. Um, the fact that we are still in week 10, we're going to week 10, where we're still getting delay of game calls because we can't get the play in off a fucking turnover or off a timeout. Like, if we don't, like, I'm going to this game on Sunday. And honestly, like, I thought about it and if I hadn't told my son that we were going, I would probably sell my tickets
Mhm.
because I don't want to see us get our ass kicked and pay the shit ton of money for beers and food and a lift to get to the game because parking is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm paying for a babysitter for my baby so that my wife can come with us to the game so that she can enjoy it and come to Cardinals game. Like, I'm like, why am I spending like basically a stack for this fucking loss? I'm paying a stack pretty much for this loss.
Mhm.
Like,
It's
what am I doing?
it's incredibly frustrating, and like you're going to the game, dude, and like it's just tough. It's like I'm sick of these decade increments of little success. Like we had the 2008 run, which is a brilliant. Like what a great year for Arizona Cardinal fans. But then we have to wait until 2015, almost 8 years later, to watch another season of solid play, and we get to the NFC Championship, and then we get fucking dog walked. Then now we're in 2022 to 23 season, uh, just about another 8 years later, and like we had a really good start of the season last year, and we just shit the bed, and then we went out the most pathetic way possible. And now we're in this season with arguably the like this like well not even arguably we basically have the same team but it's just the same dumb decisions and coaching mistakes and lack of discipline and the off season fucking stuff with Kyler's contract, and then put in the stupid study clause in there, then all
Contract,
these
yeah.
Call of Duty jokes, and it's
You
just
know,
like it's like, where do you go from here? You know, it's like why should I sit down on Sunday and watch this game when, like, I've never been so frustrated with a team because we have Robbie Anderson, we have DeAndre Hopkins, we have Marquise Brown. He's injured, I get it, but we have J.J. Watt, we have Rodney Hudson, like, we have so many good players on this team, and we just can't do it. It's just the most frustrating thing ever.
well, I mean, the thing that bothers me the most is that Cliff Kingsbury is supposed to be an offensive genius, and the offense is the worst part of this team.
I'm so sick of
Every other
hearing that shit
aspect is
too.
better than this team,
Yeah,
besides like the kicker situation or whatever, right?
yeah,
But like to your point, I mean, there is so much talent along the roster, and Keim has done pretty good. I mean, Zayvon Collins, like last week, we've seen Isaiah Simmons, Buda Baker,
Zaven
Jalen
stepped up,
Thompson,
dude.
Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
These are guys all drafted, right? Uh, Marcus Golden was drafted, but he hasn't done shit. To be honest with you, like he hasn't done shit.
Yeah, he's been
So,
quiet. Yeah.
um, I like we're looking at Kyler Murray in his fourth season go, and let's say we go to his fifth season. Look at where Patrick Mahomes is going into his fifth season. I think he's going into his fifth or sixth, right? Look
Yeah.
at where Jared Allen is going in to his fourth or fifth or sixth season.
Mhm.
Look at where some of these young guys are at. What is wrong? It's the fucking coach, bro. It's the
Yeah.
coach. Like, how can these guys be this good this year and Kyler's still the same guy he was like his rookie season?
Mhm. It's like, I will not take Kyler slander until there's another head coach like in the
Yeah.
position, or at least an offensive coordinator. I just can't do it because that's doing him and the team like a injustice, because there's
Well,
talent up and down this team.
there's
Dude, Zach
part of
Ertz,
there's
he,
some accountability for Kyler though, like the
yeah,
fumble,
100%, 100%.
holding the ball too long,
Yeah.
not understanding where to like release in the pocket when the pressure
Yes.
comes, and then uh what game was it? What game where he threw two interceptions? That was not this week?
The
The previous
Minnesota
week.
game. It was the
Minnesota game.
Minnesota game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are inexcusable. Those are inexcusable. And then there
Yeah.
was the other one where they're trying to blame it on Ertz. He didn't run the right route, and it's like,
Yeah.
dude, still you have to know, like
Yeah.
you have to know.
Like another guy to add to that list, Ertz, a top 10 tight end all time. We can barely find this guy the ball. Like he's not a blocking type, but we have this dude blocking on just about every play, and we give this dude 4 receptions a
Well,
game for less than
forget
50
that,
yards.
dude. Forget that. We drafted with our first round pick a tight end. Have you seen him
Yeah,
on the field? Have you seen that guy do anything?
just blocking. I mean, he's really good at blocking, but like, dude, like the dude got hands, man, and we haven't seen it.
No. So fine. Okay, fine. Drop a lineup where you put two tight ends in the game.
Yeah,
You know, you can
bro.
make it work. Like I've seen this happen. Andrew Luck used to do this with three tight ends. He would do a bunch formation. It was in college and with the Colts. He'd do a bunch formation, get everybody to play man to man, and then he'd do play action, and then he'd pick his tight end. And all
Mhm.
those tight ends that were at Stanford played in the NFL.
Yep, yep. Just about that whole Andrew Luck Stanford offense went to the league. I mean, McCaffrey,
Yeah,
Luck, those tight
yeah,
ends,
yeah.
that O line. I mean, that team was ridiculous, and it fucking worked. And like, Seattle ran a three tight end thing, and they bootlegged a bunch in that game. And what do you know?
And
They had a couple touchdowns on us. Like,
And if
shit
you
like
watch
that
Hard
works.
Knocks, you saw that because they
Yeah,
basically the defensive coordinator said, "Watch the fucking bootleg. Watch it.
yeah.
Watch it." They run it 13, 14 times a game or whatever he said. And then they ran it on that one play when we were within one possession and it was like
Mhm.
third down where we could have got the conversion and then Kyler could have done his magic. And he was on a sideline losing his mind. I mean, dude, I'm done. Let's stop talking about the Cardinals. Dude. This is disappointing.
this team has been infuriating. It's like the reason why I gave my prediction of the wins is because there is no reason why we couldn't win one more game than we did last season.
I thought
And
so too.
yeah, so I feel like I'm being robbed as a fan from at least half of the potential this team can be. If we were split even, I wouldn't be bitching right now like that, because
Can
we've
you
been dealing with the
imagine if
injuries.
this team? Listen, Jay, if this team, because the every season Kyler hasn't played every game. I think he missed 4 games last year. He
Uh-huh.
missed. I don't remember how he missed the year before.
I think
If we
6.
play 17 games with Kyler Murray starting quarterback, and we end up is like 6-11,
Uh-huh.
like just fucking nuke this place, nuke it.
Yeah. 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 No, I totally
And
agree.
DeAndre
Like,
Hopkins too. You get
yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins for the last 11 games of the season, and you can't get more than like 3 wins.
And he adjusted his contract for it to be more team friendly so they can bring in other pieces to help this offense. But Cliff can't figure this fucking thing out. Like what Westfield says right here, imagine Sean Payton like running this team, dude. Or if we had BA back, dude, we'll be like fucking 2, 3 seed right now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he
like
would
what are we
because
talking
Kyler
about?
he would dial it up, and Kyler and D Hop would go wild. They go
Like,
wild.
like, are you kidding me, man? And it's like, dude, like the first season or two of having D Hop, he was just on the left side of the field. Like we weren't like branching this guy around, and since we've had him back, he's been kind of all over the place. But it's like just nothing's working, and there needs to be a change. And even if we just win out the whole season, right? Like we just go on a tear right now. I don't want Cliff to be the coach next year. I just can't do it.
Um, so if we won out, I would have to see progression in a lot of areas, right? Like, so that
Everything,
would mean
everything.
that like like let's say he started moving D Hop around. Let's say he's doing that. Let's say
Mhm.
they're mixing up the lineups a little bit more and the play calling is more creative. They're not doing the same shit on 3rd down and goal and 4th down and goal. They like mix it up. They have more stuff. They're finding a way for Kyler to run safely where it's not like a scramble and or it's like this stupid design run where he can actually get fucked up. Like it's not like, oh,
The
let's run up the middle yeah,
yeah,
or like a bootleg. Let's put him against like 3 defensive guys in the corner and see how he does. Like,
good
I
point
just
too.
think, yeah, well,
I'd rather
Mike
have
McCarthy's doing a lot
McCarthy,
better than
honestly.
Cliff
Yeah.
Kingsbury, and he has got a Super Bowl ring. So
Hmm.
you guys are in way better shape than we are.
Yeah.
Um,
Like there's holes everywhere, and I mean, it's not one person's fault, but I feel like if someone needs to take the fall or at least get demoted, it needs to be Cliff. Like, I'm not calling for his job, but he needs to get demoted to like offensive coordinator or something because he just can't get it done. And Vance Joseph with all this the criticism and lack of stuff going into the season, like he's been able to overachieve and kind of max out this defense. But the defense has been out on the field majority of the games, and they've kind of held top wide receivers, kept top running backs down in yardage. The defense has done its job, and we just can't deliver on offense, and it's infuriating, absolutely
I mean,
infuriating.
there's nothing more to say. There's nothing more to say. And
Yeah,
everything that you just said, I'll just say this. I can already tell you what's going to happen. Cliff Kingsbury, they're going to say, "Hey, man, you got to get a offensive coordinator because whatever reason, Steve Keim has something over Bidwell because he continues to be in this organization and he's
yeah,
been there for like 25 years now. So the next step is going to be we're going to get an OC, and then when that fails, we're going to have to fire the whole regime, and maybe we can sell the team at that point and get somebody else that can actually lead this team."
yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Let's move on, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to the Hard Knocks thing. I didn't really want to watch it, just to begin with, but after watching it, it's nice seeing the behind the scenes and the team meetings and, like Buddha being as characteristic as he was and showing how much he gives a shit. And then I go back to like what this team is doing to give him the service and stuff. Like, but Buddha's great. I love Buddha. And just the Hard Knocks episode 1, I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I've liked all the Hard Knock episodes and series and stuff. But did you have any takeaways from the episode?
Well, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. Like, I felt like, it just was infuriating because, like, this team, they set this team up to talk about how they're going to win this game and show effort, and then they lose that
I
game. They talk about Buddha, and make him to be a point of like the focal leader of this team. And I'm watching him in the locker room, and I'm looking around. I'm like, nobody gives a shit.
Mm.
And when there was something different when Larry Fitzgerald was the captain, and you
Right.
had Bruce and you had Carson Palmer, and like everybody followed those guys. And I'm not saying like they can't be those players in a legendary status or coaching status, but it was just different. Like if you remember that, I don't know if you watched the Amazon series, the All or
Yeah, I
Nothing
did.
series, with Bruce
I
Arians.
did.
In the first 2 minutes, he's like, risk it or whatever he said. He just bought you in. Where I'm like, I'm all in on this dude. Like this
Mhm.
dude has a swag. He has a confidence. He knows what he wants his team to do. That's what he's doing. He's expecting that from the players. And if they don't execute, it's on him. But the players executed. I'm watching this and I'm hearing Steve or Cliff Kingsbury say shit like, we got to work harder. And I'm like, I don't know,
Okay.
I don't know what to say to that. Like, tell me something more. I'm hearing like Bruce Arians go like, you know what, man, we got to take more chances. That's my fault. I hear Monty say that. I'm not putting you in a position to
Take
succeed. That's my fault.
accountability, man. Yeah.
I'm not hearing that from Cliff. I'm hearing like, hey man, we got to try harder. We got
Y'all
to
got
work
to do
harder. We got to
better.
do this.
Y'all
We
got
got
to
to
do better.
execute. That
Yeah.
sounds like stupid shit. It's stupid. It's dumb.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Like Cliff is a likable guy. I bet he's a really nice dude. It's just something needs to change, man. But the Arizona Cardinals, man,
Terrible. Take a lap.
take a goddamn lap. All right. Well, let's figure this out. And Sunday is an absolute must-win if we're even going to talk about the rest of the season. So let's just get off of Cardinals and sports talk right now. You've been watching Andor. I watched the first episode. Just before we get out of here, just lay it out on me.
Yeah.
Like how is
Um,
it?
I'm not gonna drop any spoilers because I want everybody to watch the show. I think Andor. So if you're big, so I'm like one of the biggest Star Wars fans you'll ever meet. Like
Yeah.
I'm a hardcore. I
Oh,
can
real quick,
talk.
before you get into it, I got this Devin Booker pop.
I ordered mine. I'm supposed to get
Yeah,
it.
you did.
I'm put it next to my CP3 and my Gorilla. But
Yeah,
that's awesome. You got one already,
yeah.
dude.
But
Look at the
it
color.
just
Look at the color difference. What they did to Book with CP3 over
oh
there.
yeah, the Chris Paul.
It doesn't.
Swish
You
and
can't see
dish.
it though. It's way darker in here. You can't see it. It's way darker. That's funny. Because look at it. Here, actually, here's a better comparison. Look at this. Gorilla. Like the snake. Yeah.
I wasn't
But
I
anyway,
wasn't gonna get the gorilla.
yeah. But anyways, so like Andor is doing things, and so if you don't know, Andor is, if you've watched Rogue One,
Tomorrow.
Cassian Andor is the main guy from that. I saw what you said on Twitter, Sony, about Wakanda. I gotta find a way to see that.
I think I'm going tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah, I think so.
So if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll love Andor. If you're a fan of like really good television and really good storytelling and really good set piece making, then you'll like Andor, which is pretty much anybody that watches anything. Like you're just like, oh, this is really cool. I want to see it. When I started watching Andor, I was skeptical because I'm like, how are you going to make a series about a dude that dies in this movie, but they do it. And it's not about him, but it's about everything else in the galaxy that makes it feel like you can touch it. You can feel like, oh, okay, I get it. And in this last episode, episode 10, there's 2 or 3 scenes in that episode that I'm like, this is why people watch Star Wars. And it's a dialogue from a different character, and they lay it out for you, and you go, this is why they made this show. This is why the rebellion exists in the galaxy, and this is why Star Wars is something that people resonate and love, because it's about hope. It's about the idea that I'm not going to give any away. I'll just say that there's just a lot in that. Um, I'm trying to think within the shows that I've watched this year, and Andor's competing in the top 5 of overall shows that I've watched this year. It's that good.
That's
Tony
pretty high
Gilroy,
praise.
the guy that's the creator, showrunner of the show, he's the one that he rewrote Rogue One when they fucked it up, and he had to come in and fix it and made it really
Mhm.
good. He's the guy that did the Bourne trilogy, the first trilogy. He's the guy that did Michael Clayton. This dude knows how to do the spy shit really, really well. Like,
Mhm.
it's in his bag. Like, his bag is deep, and he's flexing it in Andor. So I would just say next time, Jay, like I'm gonna challenge you to catch up. The problem is like there's 2 weeks. So if you even if you caught up this week, you still have to wait 2 weeks to get to the final with me.
Right.
So maybe we should do that after the final. Maybe like that day the final drops or something. We'll do like
Mhm.
a after dark episode. But I'm gonna challenge you to get caught up.
I'm down. I'm down because I watched the first episode, and you said that they dropped 3 at once, so because all of them kind of go together. I thought the first episode was a really good start, and that's a good sign for me going forward. I mean, I I'm on record as saying I'm not like the too heavy into the whole Star Wars world like you, but I mean this is a good start, and then I want to get into Mandalorian and all that other shit. So what I've heard,
And all that stuff is good. Like, look, like all that
yeah.
stuff is great. I love Mandalorian. That's one of my favorite things. Boba Fett, and the new shows that are going to come out, Ahsoka, and then Skeleton Crew. But
Mhm.
the the
Ahsoka would
difference,
be good. I feel like.
Ahsoka's going to be insane. But the difference
Yeah.
about this show is that there's no Jedi, there's
Mhm.
no Darth Vader. This is just like people in the streets. Like this is like the Wire for Star Wars. Like if you were in the streets living with all this shit's going on, you don't have any like Jedi friends. You're not connected to like the Imperial forces. You're just some motherfucker in the street. How are you gonna live? This is what the show's about. This is like the real life. If you were to live in this, like this is what it'd be like. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then okay, now I gotta hustle. Let me figure out how do I hustle this.
It like the episode that I watched was a really good taster from what's to come. I don't know much about Andor, but I know it's very spy-like, working in the shadow sort of thing. I'm digging it so far, but yeah, we'll for sure arrange a after dark after the final episode comes out, and we can address the whole thing because I'm actually excited to watch this because I've been a little TV show deprived recently. I haven't really been watching anything like that. Um, I might see Wakanda Forever tomorrow. I'm really excited to see that. It's been getting really good reviews. Um, please don't spoil it
No,
for anybody
I
in the
haven't
comments.
seen it. I
Yeah,
know Sonya's the only one that's seen it so far.
yeah,
I'm not. I'm the freaking trailer is probably the greatest trailer of all time. The first
amazing
one that
trailer.
dropped.
Yeah,
I'm not really excited to see this movie because it doesn't have Michael B. Jordan or
Shadow. Yeah,
yeah, R.I.P.
yeah,
So I'm like, and Shuri or Shuri, like I'm not like what are those? Like I'm not really digging that, you know. She was kind of like a they made her look like a comic goofball, and so I'm like, how can she be a
yeah.
Black Panther? I don't know. But maybe they can pull it off. Maybe she can grow into the character, but it's hard to be like I mean, we've talked about this. I'm kind of over MCU at this point. Like, there's nothing really interesting me unless it's moving backwards in the timeline, like the way that
Mhm.
Star Wars is. We're gonna fill in the gaps or create new like universes or alternate scenarios versus like moving forward. I don't think
Yeah.
moving forward for them is gonna look good.
No, I can definitely see that perspective. I think Phase 5 is going to be nothing but moving forward, and maybe they start to reel it back with some of the in between projects, which that'll be kind of a way to kind of revamp what's going on because Phase 4 was sort of a letdown, considering all the other discography, you know.
Yeah.
But Phase 5 kicks off with Ant-Man, and that's going to be just the tip of the iceberg of what's to come when it gets to 2025 when we get to the King Dynasty and Secret Wars and shit. So, I'm always going to be here for Marvel. It's always been part of me, so I'm going to be along for the ride regardless. And do you know what I just found out? So originally, not Marvel related, Jonah Hill was gonna play the Riddler in the Batman instead of Paul Dano, but there was a change of casting that was given to Paul Dano. Imagine Jonah Hill in that role.
I think his name would have it's like if you put like, Brad Pitt into like a Luke Skywalker role. You'd be like,
Like what the
You'd
fuck?
focus too much on the fact that the guy's Brad Pitt, that the
Yeah,
fact that he's not Luke Skywalker. So I'm glad that they didn't put Jonah Hill in that role, even though I think Jonah Hill would have killed that role.
yeah, I think so too. Um, yeah. Besides that,
And
I
I just
think that
compared
will.
Brad Pitt to Jonah Hill, dude. Can you
I
believe
know.
that?
I mean, when we're talking about like ranking celebrities and stuff, I think Jonah Hill is in that upper tier as of right now as his popularity. I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
with the
everybody knows
Suns
Jonah
fans,
Hill.
he ranks high because he wore that jersey that one time.
True, true. Yeah, that was a hard fit too.
Yeah.
He had the jersey tucked into the fucking slacks, had the belt showing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
With
love
no
it.
with no undershirt.
um, but I think that will conclude this episode 80 of the podcast. Man, it's crazy that we've done like 80 plus of these. Shout out to everybody that came in tonight. I think I threw some people off with the whole time difference thing. I was all sitting here looking all dumb as shit, and I totally forgot y'all were an hour
Yeah.
behind us. So I mean,
Yeah, I was
fucking
wondering, like,
apologize there.
Jay's like, "Are you good to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like 2 hours from now," or whatever it
Yeah.
was. I was like, and then
So that
he's
was
like, "Oh,
my
my
fault.
bad. I didn't know it started." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't realize, like, our time zones changed."
My bad, pimp. But Gen Z showed up during the polls. Shout out to my generation, man. They fucking
Shout
came
out.
out and changed some things around. Let's just say Arizona's looking good in the direction so far. So we'll see going forward. But yeah, like I think that we'll just put a cap in this. We have the Magic game tomorrow. We have the Rams game on Sunday. Um, we know the Suns can close out the Magic. When it comes to the Cards, we don't fucking know at this point, but it's an absolute must win. And hopefully, you get to see a win uh, since you're going. What's your record with seeing Cards games like out of town? Like,
I am so I'm 2-0. Um, I'm
oh,
2-0,
okay,
and they were both blowouts. So last
yeah,
time was last year when we played them, when we blew them out like 38 to whatever it was. Last time was 2018 when the Rams played in um, the Coliseum,
uh,
and that was supposedly at that time. That was like, dude, that's crazy. That was like 5 years ago, and we're like, oh, that we're thinking that's Larry Fitzgerald's last game. I remember watching that game, and the best player on the Rams team was their punter. The entire roster, the best player was their punter.
yeah.
We fucking destroyed them like 41-10. Um, I made a video of Fitz catching like a touchdown because I thought it was gonna be his last touchdown with the Cardinals, and then he played like
Mhm.
4 more years after that. Um, but so my record with the Cardinals is strong. My record with the Suns is bad but that's because they sucked for 10 years. So
Right, yeah.
we have to throw that out.
Yeah.
But since the Suns have been good, I'm 2-0.
Yeah, with the Cards, I think it's like I've been to like 10 games, so I think I'll roll with like 7-3, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2015 I went to a good amount, and we
Oh
beat
yeah,
the
I'm only
Saints
pulling from
and
like
shit.
my LA experience. Like
Yeah,
my Phoenix experience is like all over the place because I
yeah.
had Sun season tickets and Cardinal season
Oh,
tickets and Diamondbacks season tickets.
okay.
So but it was like they weren't like the full season; they were limited, like
Right.
like 5 game
Yeah,
packages
like
or
the
like
quarterly
whatever.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So like I don't even know my record there, but I just remember I've just witnessed a ton of amazing things.
yeah. Yeah. What my son's record? I want to say is pretty good. I mean, recent memory since 2019. I want to say the last loss I saw was like it was Cleveland. Cleveland was in town. It was LeBron and Kyrie and K Love, and it was the Booker, Trevor Ariza, T.J. Warren sons and shit. And that game came down to like the last buzzer. Kyrie hit like a game winner, and Book missed one on the other side of the court. It was a really good game. But that was the last loss I saw, which was like 2018, 2019, something like that. And I've been
Right.
to at least 7 games since then, I want to say. So,
Nice.
I mean, I think we've been pretty good since then. So,
Hey Jay, I'm sorry, dude. I gotta run. My
oh,
wife's
yeah,
calling
yeah,
me.
for
Peace out,
sure.
guys. Thanks for checking in. Jay's gonna wrap it up. I have to jump out.
See y'all, man. I'll catch you later. Again, thank you everybody for coming out to another episode of the He's on Fire podcast, episode 80. You can find me on Twitter at JJoyce or JBuldy at those handles, and then you can find Ahmed as Sustainable Ahmed. And Evan, he'll be back soon. He's working, he's traveling. He's going to keep on showing support. He's going to keep on pushing the podcast out, and hopefully we can keep on growing some shit. We are going to be doing the After Dark show soon. We've just been busy with lives and stuff. My family over here has been sick. That shit's going around right now. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Suns game tomorrow, Cards game on Sunday. Let's hope it's both dubs. Uh, yeah, let's just keep going. Go Suns, go Cards, and have a good night, everybody. Have a happy Veterans Day. Stay safe. All right, I'll catch y'all later.